Have you ever wondered why some women, no matter their age, seem to possess an almost hypnotic presence? They walk into a room and conversations pause. Men turn their heads, not because of youth or conventional beauty, but because of something far more powerful. Something that radiates from within and captures attention effortlessly. This isn't about luck or genetics. It's about what the legendary psychologist Carl Jung discovered about the human psyche. Jung spent decades studying what makes certain people absolutely magnetic, and he found something remarkable. The most captivating women aren't the youngest or the most perfect. They are the ones who have achieved what he called psychological wholeness. In this video, I'll reveal the 6 Jungian habits that transform a mature woman into someone completely irresistible. These aren't superficial tricks or temporary fixes. These are deep psychological principles that create lasting magnetism. And I promise you, if you master these habits, you will notice men responding to you in ways that will surprise you. But here's what most women don't realize. The 6th habit is Jung's most powerful secret about feminine energy. It's so effective that once you understand it, everything about how you attract others will change forever. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn could transform not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. What makes a woman truly magnetic according to Jung? Most people think attraction is all about youth and physical perfection. But Jung's research revealed something completely different. He discovered that the most captivating women are those who have done what he called inner work. They've faced themselves honestly, integrated all parts of their personality, and emerged as psychologically whole beings. This is why mature women have such an incredible advantage. They've lived through enough experiences to know who they truly are. They've weathered storms that would break someone less developed. They've learned to embrace both their light and their shadows, and this psychological completeness creates an energy that is absolutely mesmerizing. Jung called this process individuation, and it's the secret weapon of truly magnetic women. When you become authentically yourself, when you stop hiding parts of who you are, when you integrate your full personality, you radiate a presence that others find irresistible. You're no longer trying to be someone else's idea of perfect. You're being magnificently, powerfully you. And here's the truth that Jung discovered. Men aren't just attracted to beauty. What truly draws them in is psychological depth, emotional stability, and the kind of confidence that only comes from knowing yourself completely. This is why some women become more attractive with age while others fade. It's not about genetics. It's about psychological development. Now that you understand the power you possess, let's explore the first habit that will make everyone see you with completely new eyes. Habit number 1. Confidence is perceived before makeup. Jung discovered something that modern psychology has proven again and again. Before anyone notices your appearance, they sense your inner state. Your confidence, or lack of it, is broadcast through every gesture, every word, every movement you make. But this isn't ordinary confidence. This is what Jung called integrated confidence. It comes from accepting every part of yourself, including the parts you once thought were flaws. When a woman has done this inner work, she doesn't need external validation because she has validated herself. Think about this for a moment. You've probably encountered women who weren't traditionally beautiful, but commanded every room they entered. What you were witnessing was Jung's principle in action. They had achieved psychological wholeness, and that wholeness created a magnetic field around them. A study from Princeton University confirmed Jung's insights. Researchers found that people form impressions about confidence within milliseconds, and confident people are consistently rated as more attractive regardless of their physical features. Why? Because confidence signals psychological health, emotional stability, and inner strength. How can you develop this Jungian confidence? Start by accepting your shadow. Jung taught that we all have aspects of ourselves we try to hide, but these hidden parts contain tremendous power. Instead of rejecting your perceived flaws, integrate them. Own your complexity. When you stop fighting parts of yourself, you become unshakable. Walk as if you own your space, because psychologically, you do. Speak without rushing or apologizing for your thoughts. Your voice should carry the weight of someone who knows their own worth. Make eye contact that says, "I see you, and I'm not afraid to be seen." Remember, the woman who has faced herself honestly and emerged whole doesn't need anyone's permission to exist. That energy is absolutely captivating, but confidence alone isn't enough. The next habit will show you how psychological wholeness creates an even deeper form of attraction. Habit number 2. A woman who doesn't cling controls the interaction. Jung understood something profound about human psychology. The more psychologically complete you are, the less you need from others. And paradoxically, this independence makes you infinitely more attractive. Women who cling, who desperately need validation, who build their entire identity around relationships, are operating from what Jung called psychological incompleteness. They're trying to use another person to fill gaps in their own psyche. But men instinctively sense this neediness, and it repels them. On the other hand, a woman who has achieved psychological wholeness doesn't need a man to complete her. She's already complete. She desires connection, but she doesn't require it for her emotional survival. This creates an entirely different dynamic. Think about it. When you know you're whole without someone, you give them the freedom to choose you genuinely. You're not desperately holding on because you're terrified of being alone. You're gracefully allowing the relationship to unfold naturally. Jung's research showed that people are drawn to those who are psychologically independent because it signals emotional maturity and stability. When you don't cling, you create space for genuine desire to grow. You become someone worth pursuing rather than someone who pursues. How do you embody this habit? Continue living your life fully, regardless of whether someone is in it or not. Don't rearrange your entire existence around a relationship. Keep pursuing your goals, maintaining your friendships, and developing yourself. Learn to enjoy solitude without feeling lonely. A woman who is comfortable with herself radiates a calm confidence that others find magnetic. You're not frantically trying to fill empty spaces because you've learned to be whole on your own. This doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means loving from a place of fullness rather than emptiness. And that kind of love is irresistible. Yet there's another layer to this magnetism, one that Jung believed was essential for true attraction. Habit number 3. A style that reflects your personal power. Jung spent years studying what he called the persona, the mask we show the world. He discovered that the most magnetic people weren't those following trends or trying to fit in. They were those who had developed an authentic persona that truly reflected their inner essence. For mature women, this is incredibly powerful. You've lived long enough to know what works for you and what doesn't. You're not trying to be 20 again. You're not copying what everyone else is wearing. You've developed a style that is uniquely, authentically yours. This authentic self-expression is magnetic because it signals psychological maturity. You're not desperately trying to fit someone else's mold. You've found your own mold and you're owning it completely. Jung believed that when your outer expression matches your inner truth, you create what he called psychological congruence. Everything about you aligns, and people sense this alignment subconsciously. It makes you feel solid, real, and trustworthy in ways that go beyond logic. How do you develop this authentic style? Choose clothing that makes you feel powerful, not just pretty. Colors that energize you rather than colors you think you should wear. Shapes that celebrate your body as it is now, not as it was or as you wish it could be. Your style should tell your story. If you're a woman who values elegance, let that show. If you're bold and creative, Express that. If you're warm and nurturing, let your style reflect that warmth. The key is alignment between who you are and how you present yourself. This includes your scent, your voice, your mannerisms. Everything should feel authentically you. When a woman achieves this level of self-expression, she becomes unforgettable because she's being genuinely herself in a world full of copies. But style is just the beginning. The next habit reveals Jung's insights about feminine energy that most women completely misunderstand. Habit number 4, a feminine energy that magnetizes. Jung spent considerable time studying what he called the anima and animus, the feminine and masculine energies within every person. He discovered that the most magnetic women had learned to embody their feminine energy fully, without apology or confusion. But let's be clear about what Jung meant by feminine energy. This has nothing to do with weakness or submission. Feminine energy, in Jung's understanding, is receptive power. It's the ability to draw others in rather than chasing them. It's the strength that comes from allowing rather than forcing. Many women today have been taught that to be strong, they must adopt masculine energy in everything. They must pursue, control, initiate, and dominate. But Jung understood that this creates internal conflict and actually diminishes a woman's natural magnetism. The most captivating women Jung studied had learned to balance both energies, but they weren't afraid to let their feminine energy lead in relationships. They understood that there's incredible power in receptivity, in creating space for others to step forward, in inspiring rather than demanding. This is especially powerful for mature women because you've had time to understand these energies within yourself. You're not confused about who you are or what you bring to relationships. You can afford to be receptive because you're secure in your own power. How do you embody this magnetic feminine energy? Allow men to pursue you instead of always taking the lead. This doesn't mean being passive. It means creating space for their masculine energy to emerge. When you're constantly initiating, planning, and controlling, you leave no room for them to step up. Speak more slowly and deliberately. Feminine energy isn't rushed or frantic. It's calm, flowing, and purposeful. Use pauses in conversation to create intrigue and depth. Practice receiving gracefully. Whether it's compliments, help, or gifts, learn to accept without immediately deflecting or reciprocating. This allows others to experience the joy of giving to you. Remember, Jung taught that feminine energy is magnetic precisely because it creates space for connection to flourish naturally. And now, before we continue to the next habit, I want to share something with you. If you're finding value in these Jungian insights, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. I regularly share deep psychological principles that can transform how you show up in the world, and I don't want you to miss them. Now let's explore the next habits. Habit number 5. Mastering the art of conversation. Jung believed that the most magnetic people weren't necessarily the most talkative. They were the ones who could create psychological depth in their interactions. They understood that true connection happens not through words alone, but through the spaces between words, the unspoken understanding, the emotional resonance they created. For mature women, this is a tremendous advantage. You've had enough life experience to understand that the most interesting conversations aren't about surface topics. You can guide discussions toward meaning, toward the thoughts and feelings that really matter. Jung studied what made certain people utterly fascinating in conversation, and he found it wasn't their knowledge or their wit. It was their ability to make others feel understood and intrigued simultaneously. They created what he called psychological tension, a sense that there was always more to discover. The most captivating women, Jung observed, knew how to listen in a way that made others feel truly heard. But they also knew how to maintain an air of mystery, never revealing everything about themselves at once. They understood that intrigue is created by what you don't say as much as what you do say. How can you master this Jungian art of conversation? First, use eye contact to create genuine connection. Don't just look at someone while they speak. Really see them. Jung taught that true seeing is a form of recognition that people rarely experience, and when they do, it's magnetic. Ask questions that go beneath the surface. Instead of, "How was your day?" try, "What surprised you today?" or "What's been on your mind lately?" These questions invite deeper sharing and create more meaningful connections. Practice comfortable silence. Jung understood that silence could be more powerful than words because it creates space for reflection and deeper thoughts to emerge. Don't feel compelled to fill every pause. Share selectively. Reveal aspects of yourself gradually, like peeling back layers of an interesting story. This creates anticipation and keeps people wanting to know more about you. Remember, the goal isn't to impress with your words. It's to create genuine connection through psychological depth and authentic interest in others. But even mastering conversation isn't the most powerful habit Jung identified. The final habit is the one that creates the deepest, most lasting magnetism. Habit number 6. Independence is the greatest aphrodisiac. This is Jung's most profound insight about attraction, and it's the habit that separates truly magnetic women from all others. Jung discovered that the most attractive people weren't those trying to attract others. They were those who had become so psychologically complete, so fulfilled in their own lives, that others naturally wanted to be part of their world. Jung called this individuation the process of becoming fully yourself. When a woman achieves this level of psychological wholeness, she doesn't need a relationship to feel complete. She desires connection, but her happiness doesn't depend on it. And this independence is absolutely magnetic. Think about the most captivating women you know. They're not sitting around waiting for someone to rescue them or complete them. They have rich, full lives that excite them. They have purposes that drive them, relationships that fulfill them, and activities that energize them. Men don't want to be their whole world. They want to be part of a world that's already fascinating. Jung understood that people are drawn to others who seem to have solved the puzzle of living well. When you've created a life you love, when you're pursuing goals that matter to you, when you're growing and evolving constantly, you radiate an energy that others find irresistible. This is particularly powerful for mature women because you have the life experience to know what truly matters to you. You're not still figuring out who you are or what you want. You can create independence from a place of wisdom rather than rebellion. How do you embody this ultimate attractive habit? Develop a life purpose that excites you beyond any relationship. Whether it's a career, a creative pursuit, a cause you care about, or personal growth goals, have something that makes you jump out of bed in the morning. Surround yourself with people who inspire you to be your best self. Your social circle should be full of individuals who challenge you, support you, and bring out your highest qualities. Energy is contagious, and when you're around high-quality people, you become more magnetic yourself. Never stop growing. Jung believed that individuation was a lifelong process. Continue learning, exploring, and expanding who you are. Take classes, travel, read, try new experiences. A woman who is constantly evolving is endlessly fascinating. Most importantly, make decisions based on what serves your highest good, not on what might attract or keep a man. When you live according to your own values and desires, you attract people who appreciate the real you, not a version of you designed to please others. Jung's research showed that this kind of psychological independence doesn't make you less loving or less connected. It makes you love from a place of choice rather than need. And that kind of love is the most attractive force in the world. What Jung discovered through decades of exploration is that true magnetism has absolutely nothing to do with age and everything to do with psychological development. The most captivating women aren't the youngest or the most conventionally beautiful. They're the ones who have done the inner work to become authentically, completely themselves. These 6 habits aren't superficial techniques or temporary strategies. They're fundamental principles of psychological wholeness that create lasting attractiveness. When you embody confidence that comes from self-acceptance, independence that comes from completeness, and authenticity that comes from knowing yourself deeply, you become magnetic in ways that transcend physical appearance. The beautiful truth about Jung's approach is that it gets more powerful with time. Unlike youth, which fades, psychological maturity deepens. Unlike physical beauty, which changes, inner wholeness grows stronger. You're not fighting against time. You're using time to become more of who you're meant to be. If you start implementing these 6 Jungian habits today, you'll notice something remarkable happening. Not only will others respond to you differently, but you'll feel differently about yourself. You'll move through the world with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're exactly where and who you're supposed to be. So tell me, which of these habits resonates most deeply with you? Which one do you feel ready to develop further? Share your thoughts in the comments below and consider subscribing to the channel. I love hearing about your journey towards psychological wholeness and the magnetism that naturally follows. Remember, the most attractive thing about you isn't your age, your appearance, or your circumstances. It's the depth of your character and the authenticity of your presence. And that, according to Jung, only gets more beautiful with time.